Well, hello, my friends. I am so excited to be here with Donna Dostal, the president and CEO of the Community Foundation for Western Iowa. Good friend. And Donna, it's so great to see you today.
It's great to see you, Andy. I just love seeing you every day, and you're just a sparkly,
Yeah,
shining star in our community. Thanks for having me on.
absolutely. Well, before we're going to talk about Share Iowa Do Good Days, that's happening April 19th through the 22nd. But you know what? We're almost a year on the anniversary of the name change. And
Yeah.
and some big things that happened with what was the Potawatomi County
Community Foundation.
I don't even, yeah, Community Foundation. So
Right.
and now again the Community Foundation for Western Iowa. So let's just talk a little bit about that and how are things
Yes.
within this like first year.
Well, you know what, Andy? It's been an amazing time to be able to reach out to the community in a different way, especially with a name now that really does reflect the work that we've been doing in the community for the last 5 years,
Yeah.
and in the Western Iowa region, really working with counties and communities, individuals, all the way from all as far north as Harrison County, in Cass County, all the way down to Fremont County in Western Iowa, and granting through our Women's Fund for Southwest Iowa, and also our Mental Health and Substance Abuse Fund. And then now with the addition of, we have our Make It Happen fundraising coursework that
Right.
we've had. Right now we have 18 nonprofits that have either graduated from that cohort or are currently in the cohort. So we have a total of 18 throughout the region. And then finally, with the addition of Share Iowa, it really does kind of demonstrate and kind of tell a story of the need that we are really helping to fill, and the need that, when organizations and communities come to us and say, how can we build our capacity? How can, what kind of resources are available to us? And for us to answer that conversation, answer that call, has been very gratifying.
Yeah. And again, so let's talk about the Community Foundation for Western Iowa and Share Iowa. This is kind of a joint collaboration
Yes.
partnership. So
Well, it is a program under the Community Foundation
okay.
for Western Iowa. We've invested our own community foundation funds. We have our own operating and expendable funds to be able to do this. Plus, we've sought out additional funding to support it through the Charles Lakin Foundation, through the Iowa Council of Foundations, and also the Iowa West Foundation provided some funding early on to enhance the platform itself, the Share Good platform. That's what we use. And so we are an investor in that platform, in that we have like a license agreement. And so we are very similar to Share Omaha. We have our own license agreement though, and we cover the western part of the western part of Iowa, the kind of the eastern part of the metro, so to speak, on the other side of the river. So we're similar to Share Iowa, or excuse me, to Share Omaha,
Right.
But are separate. We are separate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I mean, I've had conversations with some nonprofits, across the river, from on the south. I like it being the southwestern part of Iowa. And I've talked to the TS Bank. I mean, they're so involved in really understanding their history and really looking at these communities that are above and beyond Potawatomi County, which is an important, which is a significant part of that part of the state, but you've got all these other areas that are so they require their own needs. People make an impact, businesses make an impact, so it's really kind of spreading. I don't know, spreading the love is kind of, I don't know that
It's true,
but you're
right.
really, yeah.
Spreading those resources. And
Yes.
it's really, so that's one of the reasons that we invested in Share Iowa as an initiative of the Community Foundation, is to support the communities in Western Iowa, where, we have a largely rural population. And, when we started talking with folks in Atlantic, Iowa, in Stanton, in Mills County, and in Griswold, that, they're talking about, we're really trying to build our community. We know that, our community we want it to grow. grow. We're trying to create a workforce housing here. We're building daycare facilities here to attract new people to live here. And with that comes the nonprofits that are doing the work that helps support those communities. But, they're really very grassroots, or they don't have a lot of resources as far as staff. And so being able to provide them with the resource of Share Iowa, which is a platform that they can use literally as their website. We're just a little bit different than Share Omaha, that we encourage that. When we went and we had a great community meeting early on in Atlantic, and we had 22 nonprofits come and we had kind of like a meet and greet there last fall when we kicked off Share Iowa. And it was just such a great thing to hear all of their stories. We had all the way from senior services to, like, I think there was several, I'm not even kidding you, 3 or 4 feral cat organizations.
Wow.
Because that's an issue in rural communities. Feral cats are an issue. Just ask Lyons, Nebraska. They have a little bit of a feral cat issue. And so those folks they were literally raising money and communicating with folks on Facebook. No, they didn't have any resources for a website or anything like that. And so for them to have this kind of a resource where they can engage with their stakeholders, with their community around gifts in kind, around volunteering, around events that they're having, and community and resources that they're providing in the community, all free of charge to them. This was a game changer for them, right? Yeah. And so that's when we launched Share Iowa in September of 2022 with 100 nonprofits that were originally on the Share Omaha platform. Right now, we're at just over 200 nonprofits in that short amount of time. And, and when you look at the number of nonprofit organizations that are doing work in those 9 counties that we serve, there's about 1,100 nonprofits. Hopefully, sooner or later, we can help lift each one of those up.
Yeah, because again, like you said, it is a place, it's a resource, and it's a landing hub for people within those communities to find out, hey, how can I support? How can I help? How can I? And those nonprofits, it's hard to get the word out.
It's hard to get the word out. And in those rural communities, when they all start speaking a language around, hey, we're on this Share Iowa platform, and it's where we can all get together and share our projects and everybody from there's a lot of folks that have left our Western Iowa communities and have gone to different communities across the United States, but still are very supportive of their hometown. One of the tenets of philanthropy is pride plus loyalty equals obligation. There's pride in the fact that they grew up in a town in Iowa, in Western Iowa, and they have loyalty to that. And with that pride and loyalty it's an intrinsic desire to give back to their community, even though they might not live here. Yeah. Share Iowa is the way that they can do that. They can connect back to their community and really drill down as granular as what is every feral cat organization in the city of Atlantic. Because I care about cats. And so they can find that through Share Iowa. So we're very, very fortunate and grateful to the Charles Lakin Foundation and Iowa Council of Foundations for helping us to bring this to Iowa.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk just about Share Iowa Do Good Days again, April 19th through the 22nd, which by the time this airs, it's probably like tomorrow.
That's right. Which is good.
And that's another way for people to give back. And looking at your website over here as I'm glancing, there's just ways that people can do that specifically.
That's right. So during Do Good Days, we agree that there's lots of ways that you can do good. And because April is Volunteer Month, National Volunteer Month, we are providing resources back to our nonprofit partners on how to better engage their stakeholders towards volunteerism and realizing the value of folks volunteering at their organization, acknowledging that, and teaching them how to better steward those volunteers to be long-term supporters of their organization. And I know that Share Omaha, between our 2 organizations, we've partnered on a lot of communication pieces. We work together to build a toolkit for our nonprofits to use to better engage their nonprofits. But with us, we're very fortunate on the Iowa side. We have a state agency that is Volunteer Iowa. Their data shows that in the folks in Iowa, we're actually we're the fifth largest user of volunteer hours in the United States. Iowa is.
Wow.
But
Okay.
unfortunately, we're also one of the highest states with recently with natural disasters. And so that's where a lot of those volunteer hours come from, with the derecho, with several tornadoes over the last 5 years, with the flooding of in 2019 and 20. And so those are times that those volunteers are so important, but they connect with build relationships in those communities that they serve and in the nonprofits that are doing the work. And so during Do Good Days, we thought it very important for us to help build up the capacity of our nonprofits around how to build relationships with those volunteers. And so we have two events. We did one event that was all about, actually we had Michael Rojas, who is the executive director of Volunteer Iowa. He came down and shared we had about 25 nonprofit organizations in the room, learning how to better engage their donors in the value, or not their donors, their volunteers, and the value of engaging a volunteer workforce, how it even leads to them increasing their own workforce when they need to, which, everybody is battling for talent right now. If you got someone who's willing to volunteer and you build a great relationship and let them know what the work you're doing and it's very valuable, then maybe that's your next leader in your organization. And so he shared that and how to manage that, and some of the ways that they're helping nonprofits really track volunteers and steward them, and also do things from a legal perspective. How do you onboard them and make sure that they, like background checks and stuff, they have resources for that. So we're connected them now to our nonprofits in Western Iowa. And then on which I think we're just going to be airing this, but on April 20th, we're doing an event at our location. Actually, we're doing it at the Lakin campus.
Okay.
Where it's coming Taco Bout board engagement, and we're going to do walking tacos. So Taco Bout board engagement.
Okay.
And we're inviting nonprofits, the Share Iowa nonprofits, to come bring their board members with them. And we're going to talk about, what is the board's responsibility? How do you leverage board members for all the things you need them to do, fiscal responsibility, generative idea, all those kind of things that make boards very important to your organization. And so it's over the lunch hour on April 20th at the Charles E. Lakin Human Services Campus at the Lakin office, the Charles Lakin office. And that's from 12 to 1. Okay,
that's great. I'm on your website, so it's sharegoodiowa.org.
That's right.
Again, so many things that that Share Iowa does across the board. Share Good Days, April 19th to the 22nd. You've got some specific events going on during that time, but above and beyond that, just to keep inviting people, just to keep getting involved, looking at what these nonprofits are doing, inviting nonprofits to be a part of this as well. Because there's no charge for them to be a part of this. They just need to register and get their name on that. But they can contact you for more information about that. So
that's how, people from across the United States can find their nonprofit at sharegoodiowa.org.
Yeah. All right, Donna, I look forward though to having another conversation with you in a few months, because there's just so much happening over there in across the river.
The Impact Summit, the Women's Impact Summit is coming again in September.
Okay. September. Do you have a date for it?
September 26th, 8:30 a.m. until 2 p.m. at the Mid-America Center. Our keynote speaker, Andy, is Jackie Joyner-Kersey.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I haven't heard that name for a while. That's going to be an awesome event. The last one was Elizabeth Smart.
Right.
She was for the first one. So, all right, everybody set your date for September 26th.
Yep.
That was
the Impact for Women Summit through the Community Foundation for Western Iowa. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, Donna, it's so good to see you. Thank you for, I always love our conversations for Metro TV, and I will connect with you soon. So thank you.
Thank you, Andy, for having me on.
Yep. You're welcome.